How's it going, everyone? The entire Shining Revelry set has leaked, so I want to do my review and reaction to it. Now, why should you care about my opinion at all? Well, I am a Pokemon Pocket content creator. I've been playing Pokemon for over 10 years, and if you look at some of the recent bigger tournament events, I finally started entering them to kind of prove myself, and I've been doing well. So hopefully you think my opinion matters a little bit. I think I'm pretty decent at the game. Now, you might be wondering, why do you look so tired? It is 3:40 in the morning. I knew this set might leak overnight because of the new update we got. I knew data miners might get to it. And I woke up at 3:30, checked my phone, checked Discord, and I saw that the entire set is here. So I got out of bed. And, you know, that's the kind of dedication we got over here, all right? That's the kind of dedication we got. So if you guys have any interest in sticking around, maybe sub to the channel, like the video, I'd appreciate it. But let's take a look at this set, man. New cards. Let's see what we got. So we got this new Beedrill EX line, and I'm curious to see what they did with the Weedle. Multiply. Put one random Weedle from your deck onto your bench. That is okay. Like, first card that seems, you know, like nothing, but we kind of got to talk about it. Put one random Weedle from your deck on your bench. They're kind of leaving the door open for 30 cards or 25 cards, or being able to play more than just one extra Weedle. Maybe there's no other way that you would get anything but that one other Weedle in your deck, other than we see more cards in the future. So they're kind of leaving the door open for that. I'll have to, if something else happened in this update, I'll have to pop in and say something, you know, a little note from the future. But that's interesting. Anyways, good attack for the Beedrill line. And string shot, flip coin if your opponent's Pokemon is now paralyzed. That's pretty dang decent. It's a good ramping line. You got one energy, and then you get into Beedrill, and you're doing 80. Yeah, I like that. Sprigatito, we've already seen. Pinsir, we've already seen. Florgato, 40 for 2. You know, whatever. Meowscarada, Fighting Claws. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 70 more damage. Okay, so you can do 130 with Meowscarada for 2. That's kind of what you need on a stage 2, is decent damage, low energy cost. 2 grass energy only, and you're going to be doing 130 into any Pokemon EX. You combo that with red, because no matter what, you know, you're trying to hit a Pokemon EX, and now you're doing 150. I think it's pretty decent. The only thing I would rather, you know, that I would like more about this card is if we were doing base 90 and we did 40 more damage, something. So maybe base 90 is a little bit too overpowered, but if you run into any no EX decks, Meowscarada is not going to be doing a whole lot, right? You're going to be doing 60 every turn, and I don't know who you would necessarily want to partner Meowscarada with. You know, what other basic grass Pokemon could you use to help you figure out single prize matchups? This would kind of just be a counter EX deck, and that's kind of it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, we have a lot of grass Pokemon. We'd have to look through. But as a counter EX deck, it's pretty cool. I like it. We don't have a lot of attackers like that. We just have Tauros, which is splashable. Meowscarada would have to be its own deck. Charmander, 20 for 1, cool. Charmeleon, 40 for 2. Yeah, all right. And we've seen what Charizard EX does. Magmar does 20 for 1 fire energy. Okay. I mean, Blaine, you can do 50. You know, whatever. Magmortar, 120 HP. Smoke Bomb during your next turn if the opponent tries to... Okay, we get it. Troll deck, not going to be anything crazy. Paldean Taurus, Blaze Tackle, 80 damage. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself. No, there are other better basic attackers. It has 110 HP, which is cool. Maybe something to consider as a wall for fire types, but it has 2 retreat costs, so I don't see why you want to just play Dread again. He kind of does that. Tentacool, 10 for 1. Tentacruel, 40 for 1. Yeah, alright. Floatzel, this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. That's bad for a stage 1. That's too many deck slots just to do 30 to one Pokemon. If that was a basic, this would be better. Now, I did also see there's like another Floatzel coming out soon. It's like a promo or something, and it does, I think it does 10 plus 60 more if your opponent has damage counters on it for 1 energy. So it's kind of like It's kind of, you can maybe do Greninja, Greninja plus, what was it, Bruxish that tried to do that, but that was a basic and needed 2 energy. Maybe, but 70 damage only. You go up to 90 with Greninja. It's a lot of deck spaces, and your Pokemon are pretty squishy. And you don't have as much HP as like Weavile and Darkrai does, which tries to do the same thing, but with EXs and a lot less deck spaces required. So, not really loving the Floatzuls. Now, this is who I wanted to see. Dondozo. Let this be a decent card, please. Tatsugiri is going to give him free retreat if you have him on the bench. Dondozo is going to do... He's got 120 HP. He's got 3 retreat cost. Ocean Cyclone, 80 damage for 4 energy. This attack also does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Okay, so it's like Articuno, but for 1 more energy, 20 less HP. And you can't really ramp up to it as well, because Articuno does have that early attack for 40. Dondozo just has the attack for 80. It's okay. I mean, 4 energy for Dondozo is a lot. That's a lot. I know we have Misty. Don't start with that. I know we have Misty, but it's a funny card. I think, if anything, it could be another option for Palkia, but I don't think we get... Sadly, we don't get a Dondozo Tatsugiri only deck out of this. This is a lot of dedication to the Dondozo. Might be something for those decks that are like 2 Manaphy, 2 Palkia, 2 Origin Form Palkia. Might be, we might be sliding a Dondozo in there too. The problem is that if you're playing that deck and now you start Dondozo, well, you got a 3 retreat cost Pokemon in the active spot, so things get a little bit awkward there. But there might be a use case. I mean, 120 HP is pretty big for a basic, and that attack is definitely decent. So we'll have to see if we can find a spot for it and make it work. Now, Voltorb 10, okay. I think that's just a worse Voltorb than what we have. And then Electro, Tumbling Attack. Flip a coin, defense attack does 30 more damage. Nope. Ooh, a Pawmot line. Pawmot. Okay, Pawmi, 20 for 1. Cool. Pawmot, 40 for 2. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Pawmot, counter attack. Okay, is this just Poliwrath? If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 20 damage to that attacking Pokemon. Yep. And then 72. Free retreat. Okay. Interesting. Cool smiley face. Poliwrath wasn't good. So I see no reason to believe that Pawmot's going to be anything special. Sorry. No other lightning Pokemon. It's a very tiny set, huh? We're getting like a stage 2 and like a stage 1 of everything, or like maybe a couple stage 1 lines, but that's about it for each type. So I guess I'll talk about these for this video because I did another video, but I should be going over the EXs too. Let me backtrack here. Beedrill, he does 80 for 2 grass energy. I think the deck's pretty cool. I don't think that Beedrill is necessarily the most powerful thing in the world. 80 damage is pretty light for an EX, but I guess with red, you could get that up to 100. My thought process is that Beedrill is going to be 2-shotting everything. The energy disruption might not be enough unless we can get into a Beedrill really, really quickly. Otherwise, our opponent might find the way to be ahead in energy. But if you can get the Beedrill out quickly, then you could be getting into a 2-shot war with 1 EX, and your opponent is just not able to start building up the one on the bench because you are discarding that energy from it turn after turn. They have to keep attaching to keep attacking with it. So Beedrill seems okay. I guess your opponent could go attack into, if they're able to attack into Beedrill first, they would then kind of just be able to sack the EX in the active spot and then start attaching to the bench one. And then that bench one becomes active, knocks out the Beedrill, and then you probably don't have a second Beedrill setup. It's hard to set up 2 stage 2s in any game. It's a very, very difficult thing to pull off in Pokemon Pocket. So he's like, okay, to be determined, needs to be played with to see what we can do with it. But I'm not going to write him off immediately. Now, this Charizard, at first I wasn't a big fan, but, and this is going to be hypocritical to what I just said about the Beedrill, but this is why I say it needs testing, is this Charizard. I'm very, very curious to see if with the new Iono, we are able to pull off having 2 stage 2s in a deck. Maybe not necessarily setting up 2 stage 2s, but being able to find the exact one we want. So imagine we're playing Charizard Moltres, just the same as we always have, but we're playing one of the old Charizard and one of the new Charizard. This new Charizard gets around Mew EX, and most decks that we would be attacking into that are playing Mew EX, think Arceus Dialga, they're not going to have a way to one-shot the Charizard now, and this Charizard is going to be able to pretty comfortably knock out any other Pokemon your opponent has in just one hit with that Steam Artillery for 150. So this could be a way for Charizard to now get away around the Mew, besides doing the blue plus Giant Cape combo, which is pretty tricky to pull off. Now instead, when you're playing into a matchup with Mew, you see that Mew, you just go for this Charizard instead, and then maybe put like a couple red or 1 red into the deck. So if you run into Arceus with a Giant Cape, you can still one-shot it. So now I'm kind of thinking that this guy does have a place. Now what I don't think this guy has a place in is just being a Charizard EX deck, maybe still with Moltres, but you know, where your game plan ever involves you going for Stoke. I don't see that happening. You'd have to get into the Charizard like immediately before your opponent really gets anything set up, and then be able to Stoke, because if you Stoke and then you get hit for any meaningful damage, well, you get to Steam Artillery, but you might just get knocked out right back, and now you're both left with no Pokemon, and both you and your opponent have no built-up Pokemon in play. Well, sorry, I'm imagining against Arceus Dialga, if they go in early, they can probably put damage onto Charizard and then have a backup attacker already set up. So Charizard's going to get 2-shot. He might take down 1 guy with him, but from there, you're not going to set up another attacker in the back to help you finish off the game. I don't love a stage 2 that sets up with its own attack. That seems very, very scary. But maybe with Iono now, it's possible to get 2 stage 2 set up at once. I'm not sure. Wugtrio EX, pop out, through out. It's like Dragonite. It does 50 damage to 3 Pokemon randomly. It can select multiple Pokemon. It's just not good. It's funny, but it's not good. We'll ignore him. Pikachu EX. I see a lot of people saying that Pikachu is bad. I have been labbing a Magnezone Pikachu EX idea. We would just have like a big late game attacker now. Still need to test it out. Lightning has never really had the nuclear option for any of its decks. Like, the best basic nuke is Zapdos EX, and you guys know that attacks on a coin flip. This is just guaranteed, like, dude, we're doing 150. Yes, you discard all energy from this Pokemon, but again, this is supposed to be the attack that wins you the game. We can either do something early with Magnezone, maybe put some of that Rotom in that does 50 damage to soften your opponent up while you're working on the guys. But I like the idea of it. I want to try it out and see if the Pikachu Magnezone deck can be something. So I'm a fan of Pikachu. Alright, sorry for that interruption. I realized that not everyone watched my video on the first round of leaks. Just wanted to throw in my opinions there. But we have a new Alakazam line. Abra does 20 for 1. Kadabra does 30 for 1. I feel like that's just better than the other Kadabra. I think the other Kadabra attacks for 3 energy, which isn't fantastic. Alakazam. Psychic Suppression. This attack also does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has any energy attached. That's kind of cool. 80 for 2. It's a stage 2. It's only doing 80. Yes, it's doing the sniping and everything, but this is a lot to fit into a deck to do 80 and then 20 to each bench that has an energy attached to it. It's a little much for any deck to put this in. Yeah, it would combo well with Cyrus. Yeah, I just don't. It's a stage 2, man. If you're playing a stage 2, like, it better be almost winning you the game once you get it set up. It better be really, really scary. Yeah, not the biggest fan. Mr. Mime, 90 health, Juggling flip 4 coins. Dude, I'm not even gonna pretend like that's a real Pokemon card. We're ignoring that. We ignore coin flips out here. Drifblim, 90, 40, retreat, 0. Cool 0 retreat. Reminds me of like Clefable. Clefable does 40 for 1 energy as well, I believe. That was Genetic Apex. It's been a long time since I tried to mess with that card and find a spot for it. I don't think 40 on a stage 1 is really great anymore. That was in Genetic Apex. This might have had some validity, but no longer. All right, let's talk about Giratina, because Giratina is actually awesome. So once during your turn, you take a Psychic Energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. If you do it, if you use the ability, your turn ends. Chaotic Impact, 4 energy, 130. This Pokemon also does 20 damage to itself. I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot of things here, right? We could do Giratina Dusknoir with maybe a Druddigon. Yeah, maybe a Druddigon. Just stick the Druddigon in the active spot. Power up Giratina on the bench. I saw some evil person say Druddigon, Giratina, Darkrai. Sit behind the Druddigon. Power up the Giratina with the Psychic Energy. You only play Dark Energy in the deck. Then you just get to attach to the Darkrai over and over. Now you're pinging damage to the active, you're setting up Giratina, and you're setting up Darkrai at the same time. All while your opponent can't really get to any of your Pokemon because they're staring at a Druddigon. And then once you're ready, you go up and swing. That sounds stupid. That sounds like it sucks to play against, but it sounds like it's possibly real. There's just a lot to do with this Giratina. He's got 150 HP. He's huge. And he accelerates to himself. So that is going to free you up to attach to any other Pokemon. Really, the best other Pokemon to attach to are like Darkrai. So that doesn't sound like a bad idea. Again, Giratina Dusknoir, you can heal all the damage off of it. Now, my concern is that once we're attacking with Chaotic Impact, we're doing 20 damage to ourselves. My cat has decided she needs to be in the video. Here's a tail. What are you guys thinking about that? You're going to do 20 damage to yourself. So you're going to go down back to 150 if you have a giant cape, or you're going to go down to 130 after that. And now you're in a scary situation where Giratina can be knocked out in return. And 130 isn't necessarily grabbing a one-shot on anything without a red. It's still not even going to one-shot an Arceus with a cape. That's why we kind of need to figure out how to get the rest of the damage, either through Darkrai or through our opponent attacking you to a Druddigon, whatever. There are some scary things for this. There are definitely some drawbacks. I mean, it's 4 energy. You got to invest a lot of resources. You got to use at least 2 turns of ending your turn without an attack and 2 turn attachments to get this guy going. And he could be one shot in return after he gets up there. So we will have to see, but I think it's a very, very good card. I think that most decks that play him are going to be very annoying, so get ready for that. Gimme Ghoul. Chestavlage. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage and effects. Okay, so that's totally going to depend on what the Goldango does. Oh, I know this. I know this guy. I know this Machoke. This Machoke is from the real TCG. He had an ability that prevented all damage done to your Pokemon on the bench. He was very, very important. Yeah, we loved this Machoke. All right, well, let's see. Pummel, if flip a coin if heads, this attack does 30 more damage. I think that's just worse than the Machoke we have right now. Machop does, oh, hey, a good Machop, right? Doesn't the original Machop have 2 retreat, if I'm not mistaken? This guy only has 1. I think that's just a Machop upgrade. And Machamp, this Pokemon has at least 2 extra fighting energy attached. The attack does 50 more damage. Did we get like surprise fighting acceleration? I'll have to look at the supporters, but unless we got surprise fighting acceleration, this kind of means nothing. Getting 4 energy as a fighting Pokemon to 1? No, that's too many resources. That goes against what fighting tries to do. New Riolu, 40 for 2 energy. Interesting decision for Lucario players. Now, I think I still like the 1 energy Riolu better, because you're able to, if you go second, you go poke for 20 with Riolu, evolve into Lucario. Now with its ability and another attachment, you're doing 60 damage, so you do 80 damage across 2 turns. That damage is usually pretty impactful, so I think I still like the other Riolu more. And then Lucario, For 3 fighting, it does Aura Sphere 100 and also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I am skeptical on this. Fighting really enjoys 2 energy or less attackers because everything is very low HP. Everything attacks for 2 energy, so it's nice to be able to just like bench something, put an energy onto it, leave it there ready to go, and you very rarely have extra energy to go around in the fighting deck because again, everything is low HP. It is a stage 1, but it's almost like whatever because I still need to attach to it 3 times. So even if I get into a stage, even if I find this stage 1 immediately, I'm still not attacking with it or putting on a lot of pressure. But, you know, it could still be okay. 100 damage for 3 is fine. It has 150 HP. You might be able to get it set up fast enough that you're not getting one-shot by anything in return. And 30 damage to the bench is pretty cool. So, it's an okay card, but I'm not completely sold on him just yet. Hitmonlee, kick, 30 damage for 1. Okay, so what is this? This is just Hitmonchan, but reskinned? Hitmonchan. Mega Punch for 93 energy. Okay, okay. Again, it's the problem of it takes 3 energy to attack. That's a big deal in fighting decks. We do not have the energy to go around for that. We enjoy, you know, attacking with Hitmonlee while building up a Marshadow on the bench and then building up like one other attacker, and you're able to do that because everything is so low energy cost. Hard to see a point where I will find 3 attachments to a Hitmonchan, because once this Hitmonchan attacks, right, he's probably getting knocked out the next turn. He only has 90 HP. He's not a big guy. So yeah, I'm not convinced of fighting Pokemon that take a lot of energy to attack. All right, let's get on to the dark stuff. Well, okay, there's a Flamigo. Flip 2 coins. All right, I'm sorry I read you. Ekans. 30 damage for 2. Cool. I mean, not cool. It's not good. Arbok, 3 energy. Bonus Pokemon is now poison. All right, also not good. Paldean Wooper. All right, so he's got a poison jab, poison the opponent's active Pokemon. Hey, I mean, against an EX deck, right? Well, never mind. Arceus has that no special. Hey, I need a second to rant here. Arceus did not need to have that no special condition ability. That was an unnecessary buff to an already disgusting Pokemon. When has that ever come up? It rarely ever comes up in your games. Not a lot of special conditions out there. Arceus is just immune to them for some reason. Because he wasn't strong enough, I guess. Now, Paldean Wooper, he is going to allow you to now ramp up into the Clodsire attack. Because if Clodsire set for 2 energy, if your opponent's Pokemon is poison, it does 120 more damage. Has 160 HP. He's really big. There's the opportunity to go Poison Jab into Clodsire. Really, the biggest problem is that the biggest EX out there right now is immune to special conditions. Other than that, Clodsire is really cool. And I wish Arceus didn't have that effect so I could look at him better. But we also don't have like a dedicated way to poison Pokemon that isn't attack or put Weezing in the active spot and then Koga it up and attack with Clodsire. So it's hard to get the poison condition down. And unless this Grafify does something different, because I see an ability here and I'm actually kind of curious. Let's see. Once every turn, you may flip a coin if your opponent's Pokemon is now poisoned. Okay, so there we go. I sniped it. I saw you in an ability. I'm like, I'm saying all this. I know he's going to make me regret this. Okay, so now you can poison on a coin flip. That is, like... Why does Arceus have the ability, man? I can't, like, take this seriously, because Arceus has that ability, dude. He's just immune. Ah, man. Man, so, like... You can't do it. You can't poison him. You just make sure that I have Arceus EX's thing, right? Pokemon can't be affected by special conditions. Yeah, if it said this Pokemon ignores effects of special conditions, like you wouldn't take damage from poison, you wouldn't get, you wouldn't like actually be paralyzed, but you would still be paralyzed. That would be better because that means we could still get the poison condition on it. But Arceus just completely negates that. Now, Grafify, I kind of wish that he was a stage 2 and it was guaranteed poison. But I guess this is like 10 more damage on a coin flip. I guess for a stage 1, that's not bad when you think about it on the outside context. Yeah, yeah, it's just flip a coin, maybe for 10 more damage each turn, potentially 20 if they don't switch. Interesting card, and I love this Pokemon, dude. Like, his design and his eyes are so sick. I like this guy. I don't mind this. I don't mind this. This is a cool ability to have. It's something to consider. Don't have to think about it with just Clodsire. It could be in any deck as just a potential damage boost every turn. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at the Tinkaton line. 20 for 1. Flip a coin if heads at us. 30 for 2. Well, 60 for 2. And then the Tinkaton. Not a lot to say about this guy. He's either going to suck or he's going to be awesome. It is what it is. You might go Terrific Thumping, one-shot whatever's in front of you, and then you're kind of clear to try it again on the next turn. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. That's all there is to it. All right, Varoom, 10 damage for 1. Reveroom, Spinning Drift. What is this? Prevent a damage attack. Okay. They are never really that good. I don't think anything's going to change. Goldango. Scintillating Surfing. Cool. Flip a coin for each. Flip a coin for each metal energy attached to Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each head. Okay, so Dialga Goldango. We don't have any other form of metal acceleration, right? It's just sort of Goldango. It would just have to be Dialga that goes with the Goldango. So after 2, I mean, actually, you can ramp up to this Goldango pretty fast. You can get this attack becoming a problem pretty quick. It's got 120 HP, so it is kind of comparable to Celebi, right? Celebi has 130. I mean, with a giant cape, you're going to run into some problems of this guy getting one shot after you've built him up. That 10 damage difference between Celebi does matter. But it's a funny Dialga variant. I'm just trying to think, like, do we really see this over Arceus Dialga instead? Arceus is very, very consistent and does a lot of damage on its own. Goldango, you need quite a bit to sort of ensure a knockout. It's funny. I'll give it's funny. I'm not convinced it'll replace Arceus Dialga as the best partner for him, but it's funny. He's a funny cheese boy. All right, let's get to the colorless stuff. Tackle, cool. Eradicates or tackling. Wigglytuff and ability. That makes me happy. Once you return, you may heal 20 damage from your active Pokemon on a stage 1. That's really cool. That's really cool. Wait a minute. Wigglytuff Beedrill. Also, dude, this card art is so sick. This is awesome. I love this card. Healing 20 damage from your active on a stage 1. Oh my gosh, dude. Tank and heal strategies might be back. They might be back. We haven't had enough healing to really effectively use it, right? Like, people would always say, dude, play the Butterfree. The Butterfree is a stage 2, heals 20. It's a stage 2. I don't have room. Wigglytuff's a stage 1. Sure, it's only to your active Pokemon, but, like, your active Pokemon, the guys who just got hit, bro, is who we're trying to power up. Or that's who we're trying to save. He's I don't know, he's like ER ambulance comes in, everyone rushes to the guy coming out on the stretcher. Like, this is what Wigglytuff does. Get the care to the active Pokemon. He's the guy who just suffered a terrible motor vehicle accident. He needs the help. I like Wigglytuff. So Wigglytuff Beedrill, okay. I mean, also, so Beedrill 100 damage, 4 energy, heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. With Wigglytuff, we're, like, guaranteed doing 50 healing every turn. Then we got potions. Then we got Irida. We got Giant Cape to make us even bulkier. Dude, it could work. It could work. But, of course, Wigglytuff doesn't need to just be played with Beedrill. It's a colorless. It can go into literally anything. It can be splashed into anything. You also have the Sing Jigglypuff we could pair it with as well to try to slow things down a little bit. Dude, I am so hyped. I love healing decks so much. Don't care if you think they're cringe. Like, what? No, I'm having fun. You're not. That's fine. I don't care. It's all about me. This game is designed around the gamer, the guy piloting the deck to have fun. That's why Misty exists. You think they thought, everyone's going to love Misty. This is going to be a great time for both parties involved. No, all they care about is that the guy playing gets to have fun, not the other guy. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't make any sense. They only need one person to have fun. They don't care if both people have fun. Just one guy needs to have fun, and that's good enough for them. Licky Licky, 70 for 3. No. No, I mean, he's big. Are you guys really going to make me sit here and consider Wigglytuff Licky as a deck? Like, don't make me do this. Don't make me pretend. It's not going to be a thing. I'm sorry. New Lopunny. 30 for 1. Alright, that's just not a real card. That's pack fodder. You pull this in the rare slot 50 times while you're trying to pull something actually cool. No good. Oh my gosh, I see Pokemon Center Lady, and I know that's already a healing card. So yeah, whatever. Let's get to the interesting stuff. Pokemon Center Lady. Heal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon, and it recovers from all special conditions. Dude, we are just... Okay, so other types now have healing. We have a way to get rid of special conditions. I think tank decks are here, man. Tank decks are here, especially like Colorless, like that Beedrill. He's going to heal 30 for himself. You can play Irida. You can play Pokemon Center Lady. You can play the Wigglytuff. I don't know how you get all the energy on. I guess Manaphy. We're doing Manaphy, Wigglytuff, Beedrill. Dude, we might. I mean, we have to try it, right? We have to give it a go. We have to see if it's something that can happen. Pokemon. I mean, hey, dude, heal 30, and it removes all special condition. Fine, cool. Yeah. I mean, what more can you say? It's a good card. You just have to look at every single deck and think about your options and think about where it might come up and if it makes the spot for it. But yeah, awesome. I like it. Team Rocket Grunt. All right, I feel like I saw a spoiler. Okay, I'll talk about Iono first. Each player shuffles their hand into the deck and draws that many cards. I really don't care what it does for my opponent. It doesn't matter. They're just drawing the same amount of cards. Sometimes it's going to help them. Sometimes it's going to hurt them. Blah, blah, blah. I care more that Iono is going to give me a fresh hand and act as basically a second draw supporter to Professor's research. I'm hoping that it makes decks more consistent because we have a way out of our dead hands. Again, we can just start. We're more likely to start either research or Iono and, get the ball rolling. You guys know how it feels playing a game and watching your opponent use both research while you're sitting there with 0 Pokeball, 0 research. You have no way to thin your deck. You're just top decking, blah, blah, blah. It sucks so much. Hoping Iono does it. I like the card. Don't really care what it does for my opponent. Red, plus 20 damage to your opponent's active EX. Just a good card. Good card. All right, Team Rocket Grunt. So, I mean... It doesn't mean you lose. Dude, this is good. Oh my god. You're definitely playing this in any tank and heal deck. You're 100% you're playing this in any tank and heal deck. Dude, you might be playing this in any deck. I mean, well, unless you're no, a tank and heal might be able to take advantage of it the best. I'll read it out. I don't even want to say these words. Flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So, I'll tell you a story. There was a time in the TCG where it was actually correct to dedicate 4 of your 60 deck slots to a card called Crushing Hammer. Crushing Hammer was an item card. Just like in this game, you could play as many item cards as you want per turn. And Crushing Hammer said, flip a coin if heads. Remove an energy from your opponent's Pokemon, any Pokemon, wherever you get to pick. And it was actually so defining that there were some matchups where the way to win was to hit 2 or more Crushing Hammers in a game. That would just set your opponent back enough that you guaranteed won. There was nothing they could do, assuming you drew normally. So I'm just thinking back to those times and how much it sucked, and now we have essentially that effect in this game, potentially unlimited. I'm glad that it doesn't say remove random energy from your opponent's field. I'm glad that it's just to the active, because we have a say in our energy being removed almost. Your opponent might only be able to pull this off after you've already taken a big knockout with whatever's in the active spot. They're not going to be able to get to anything on the bench. You wouldn't be able to Sabrina and Cyrus in the same turn that you use Team Rocket's Grunt. It's I feel like this can only be annoying. It's a comeback card on a coin flip that's just going to do way too much sometimes and swing a game you were winning against you for no other reason other than your opponent hit coin flips. So I don't love this card. That's pretty just terrible. I mean, I'm gonna be laughing when I'm playing it in my tank and heal Beedrill deck. But for the dude, I hate that. I actually despise that. All right, let me take a look at the dude. Ew, no, what is this, bro? This is disgusting. No way I'm gonna be playing Beedrill with this thing, healing damage, and my opponent's forced to look at this card art. Bro, that's not right. This is disgusting. No, dude, that is sickening. The other ones look cool. Dude, no. Let me see the spoiler alert. Get out of here if you don't want to see this stuff. Oh, beautiful Pikachu. Beautiful Clodsire. Tinkaton. Also, that's a very... Dude, these are awesome. Cool Beedrill. Yeah, dude. Beedrill plus the Wigglytuff. That's just not right, man. And the Giratina Immersive. Dude, that looks scary. I'm excited to see what... up with that. Yeah, no. Beedrill and Wigglytuff. Like, that's what we're doing day one, man. That is so funny. That is so funny. And all the shinies... Cool. Gold Pokeball. Yes, man. I was hoping they would make these. Now, it's a crown rare. I've yet to pull a crown rare. I've opened 1,000 packs. I've never seen one, so I'm never going to see this Pokeball. But it's cool to know I have the option. I've been waiting for some, like, gold item cards. I would love a way to flex, even though I'm not going to get them. I'm not going to spend enough money to get them. But they're cool knowing that I could pull it. All right, so W set, except for the Team Rocket Grunt, I think. He's about all that's scaring me. But I like all the other cards a lot. This is a good set. I don't think anything's going to be 100% meta-defining. I don't think any of these EXs, except for maybe the Giratina. I think Giratina is going to be great. But what I'm saying is I don't think any of these become the most played decks after this set drops. I think Arceus Dialga probably still remains on top. Maybe Giratina Darkrai Druddigan is just going to be annoying enough that he becomes the top guy. But I like what I'm seeing here from this set. Pretty cool. No super powerful basic EXs that are going to warp the game like Arceus did. All right. Well, hey, if you guys enjoyed, sub to the channel, like the video. Really appreciate it. Have a good one. Can't wait to play this.